Hi there, Tiffany here with Years of Years, and it's time for another This Day in Disney for May 1st, and that's pretty exciting. There's exciting things that happen on May 1st through the years. First off, we're going to talk about in 1927, the first Oswald the Lucky Rabbit cartoon was released, Trolley Troubles, and it was a Winkler production, but Walt Disney directed it. So this was before Walt Disney had his own company. So we do have, it's on the Walt Disney Treasures collection, and we do have it here, but you can also watch it on YouTube. So it's an interesting and fun cartoon. It definitely gave me the feels of the 1920s when I was watching it. And what I thought was funny, like right off, is the animation. The trolley is going down the track and there's a cow, and Oswald needs to remove the cow from the track, and the animation on that is really good of how difficult it is to remove this cow that doesn't want to move. And I also like that the cow was wearing spectacles. I thought that was hilarious. But this trolley ride really turns into a roller coaster ride, so the short is definitely a lot of fun. And at one point it gets so dangerous and scary that Oswald takes his literal foot off so he can kiss it for good luck, because he's a rabbit, he's a lucky rabbit. So I thought that was pretty hilarious as well. So anyway, you should go check this cartoon out. It was great. And then next up, on May 1st in 1947, the rights to use Donald Duck as the official mascot and insignia of the University of Oregon in Eugene, Oregon is granted by the Walt Disney Production Company. And Walt Disney had basically reached an informal handshake on this with Leo Harris, who was the athletic director at the time. And it was after Walt passed away, it was questioned whether this was official. And they actually found photo evidence of Walt and Leo sitting together, and they were both wearing Donald influenced mascot jackets with the logo of Donald on their jackets together, and smiling and having a blast at the game. So it was made official in 1973 by a more formal agreement. So out there in Oregon, is their university mascot is Donald Duck. Isn't that fun? If you didn't already know that, I think it's a lot of fun that they got to do that and that Walt supported it. So it kind of shows me something about Walt's character that I didn't notice before. It doesn't look like he was as protective of his Donald Duck rights, at least, as maybe I thought he was. So just really interesting, and I found it fun finding that information out today. The next up is a big one. Back in 1989 on May 1st, Disney's MGM Studios Theme Park opened to guests. So this was the third theme park at Walt Disney World, and it was based on a concept by Marty Sklar, Randy Bright, and Michael Eisner. It was dedicated to the imagined worlds from film, television, music, and theater. You know, celebrating the golden age of Hollywood. And you know, that's clear from the TV special that was released, which you can also watch on YouTube. It's a pretty blurry version. It's not been updated or anything, but I checked out, it's almost a 2-hour special that they released, but it was definitely clear their motives for MGM Studio in that particular TV special, with lots of stars from the time. It's really fun to watch, and you definitely get those 80s feel from this TV special. So you might want to check that out. You can also go on Disney Plus and watch the Imagineering story. I know I've referenced that before. This is episode 3 that you want to look at, and they go more in depth to the rides, and the actual Imagineers who are working on the park get to tell you about it. and you get to see more of what was going on financially with the parks and why things were done the way they were. But this was supposed to be a half-day park, and it got bigger and bigger. And that was mostly due, I learned from the Imagineering story, to Michael Eisner. He was going into the Imagineers and like, let's add this, let's add this. And the one guy was like, if you dare to bring up something, he probably would like it and want to add it. When the park opened, the rides that were available that day, on opening day, was first off the Great Movie Ride, which many of us love. I love that ride. Of course, now it's Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad. And so, it's not there anymore, so of course we miss it, but we have some nice POVs and such. And of course the outside exterior hasn't changed, which I'm very grateful for. When I was listening to a podcast this morning, the Connecting with Walt podcast, I love it, and they were talking about the Chinese Roman Theater and how the one at Hollywood Studios is an exact replica. So much so that when they needed to update the one in Hollywood, the actual Chinese Roman Theater, they used the blueprints because the one at Hollywood Studios had been more updated with more modern things, sprinklers, you know, whatever, you know, more modern to the times. And so they used those blueprints. So I thought that was really interesting when I heard that today, and I wanted to share it with you. I think that it's really neat to see how Disney, with its Imagineering and with its theming, can be so perfect sometimes. And obviously that's what they did with the Chinese Roman Theater. I'm glad it's still intact, at least on the outside. So next up was Superstar Television, and that was a glimpse into like a TV station's typical broadcast day, the hectic broadcast day at a TV station. I think you got to interact and be part of that. Guests did from the audience, and so it seemed like a fun experience. And then they also had the Monster Show, where guests could add sound effects to a movie that was in production as well. That sounds really fun, and something that probably sparked a lot of kids' interest in film and producing their own maybe even YouTube videos, or going in to become work on production for movies and things like that. So I think it's a great thing to have kids experience those kind of things at a young age. Next was the magic of Disney and animation. So you got to go sit, or I think you stood and watched animators who were sitting, and there were dozens of them that you could watch animating at the time. All I remember us seeing when we were taking our kids to Disney World was just 2 animators that were over where Launch Bay is. Obviously they don't have that there now, but before Launch Bay was there, we did get to see that. I know our children really enjoyed that, but at the time it says dozens, so sounds like a really interesting experience. And you got some real heavy experience with seeing animators animate. I think that would have also been really cool for kids. I know our son Miles would have actually really loved to see that. And then the backstage tour, which was a 2-hour guided driving tour. I think part of it was driving and then walking. Again, when I did it, it was just a very small tour. So, but you got to go through Catastrophe Canyon, which is really interesting. The restaurants at the time, they had 50s Prime Cafe, Backlot Express, Hollywood and Vine, Min and Bill's, Dockside Diner, and of course the Hollywood Brown Derby. Those were all there on opening day. Not Sci-Fi Dine-In yet, but that's okay, it would come later. And then later that year, with Attraction, Star Tours, and Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular were added pretty quickly. So those were, that definitely, you can see how the park was just getting bigger and bigger. And of course I looked it up because I was curious. when was my ride there? Tower of Terror. And that was in 1994. July 22nd was its opening day. And then Rocking Roller Coaster was in 1999, so 5 years later on July 29th, those rides were added. So last year, Brad and I actually got to go to the 30th anniversary of Hollywood Studios, and we had the greatest day. It was so fun. It started off with a big special parade, and then there was a stage show, and they announced the new logo, and there were treats and merchandise. Let's see, we did get this complimentary poster and there was also this commemorative guide for last year, and with all the things that, all the treats and merchandise and all the cool things you got to do for the day. So it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. We were so happy that we did it. We had to get there early, and like with many openings, you have to get there early, but it was worth it and a lot of fun. And so we actually posted a video to IGT on Instagram. So if you want to see our experience from that day and our thoughts on it, you can go check that out on Instagram, and we'll put a link in our description and you can go check that out. And if you haven't been to see us on Instagram, we're the same. We're Years of Years on Instagram, just like we're here on YouTube. So if you want to check it out, go for it. I'm so glad I got to discover more about Hollywood Studios and its history, and watch some cool stuff today to see what it was like in 1989, and especially that opening day. I'm sure some of you got to go see it and had a blast, and I'm looking forward to future things opening at Disney World and at other Disney parks, and hope I get to be a part of it. So go check out Trolley Troubles, and I hope you have a great day. Bye!